Hi, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Shivani and I'm an artist and designer based in the sunny city of Chennai in the south of India. In case you're new here, please do check out my channel. I share a lot of tips about art, working with gouache, and I'm going to be sharing a lot about starting a creative business as well. If you've been following my work for a while now, you'll know that I love traditional Indian art forms, and one of them is Mughal art. I really love how delicate the style is and also the slightly whimsical nature of the botanical illustrations in Mughal art. So in today's video, I'm going to be painting a Mughal floral illustration, and you can watch and paint along with me if you want to. And I also figured, since it's been 2 months since I started this channel, it was about time that I told you a little bit about my journey with art, and specifically with gouache, which is my absolute favorite. So I'll take you through that as well. The artwork that I'm working on today was actually a commissioned piece for a client, and I decided to just record my process while I was doing it. I've already done a similar one before, for which I have mixed up the colors on my palette previously. So I'm just going to be reactivating them and using the same colors today. So I won't be showing you the color mixing like I usually do, but just follow the instructions on the screen where I'll explain how to mix something similar. As always, I'm using my Winsor & Newton Designer's Gouache and my Princeton round brush. The paper is Canson Montval. So let's start painting, and today while I paint, I will be sharing with you the story of my art journey. I've been into art since my childhood. I was always strong with my techniques, but somehow I never thought I would be able to create original art. I completely lacked the confidence, and I thought it was just something I could never do. But the pandemic changed things for me. I'm not really sure exactly how it started. I did a lot of art through my entire childhood, as I mentioned. My mom had enrolled me in a lot of different extracurriculars while I was in school, but art was the one that I loved the most, and it just stuck with me throughout. I loved crafts as well and never wasted an opportunity to create something fun for my friends, like greeting cards, bookmarks, whatever I could think of. And my dad was the CEO of a leather goods factory as well, so I spent many of my summer holidays there, and I would make clothes for my dolls and little pouches and keychains for myself and my friends. And one thing I do want to mention is that a lot of the art classes that we used to attend in India, most of them in fact, instructed us to create copied art. We were given a bunch of reference images or books, and we were asked to recreate them as we saw them. If they didn't look exactly like the images, we were shown how to kind of correct them and make them more, correct, I guess, which is fine for a while. And I won't lie, it's where I learned all my techniques from, and it's where I got confident about my hand with art, and I learned to work with so many different mediums. But could I create anything original? I firmly believed that I really could not, and the couple of times that I tried, I was disappointed and I just gave up without pursuing it further. Once I was done with school, I decided to pursue accessory design. So I joined the National Institute of Fashion Technology in Chennai, and my course was an accessory design course with a specialization in footwear and leather goods. And the first year of it was pretty much like a fine arts course. We were taught a lot of visualization and representation and learning to recreate objects that are in front of us and things like that. But as time went by, I stopped doing so much of art per se, other than the sketching and designing of products which were part of my curriculum. And since I joined there, I think I may have just created 2 to 3 pieces of art per year. That's from 2019 to 2020, which is like 11 years of just creating 2 to 3 pieces of art per year, which is just crazy for me to think about right now, because right now I'm at a place where I'm doing 2 to 3 pieces in a week. So one random day, a couple of years ago, sometime in Feb 2020, I got this strong urge to get a set of oil pastels. Oil pastels was a medium I was always very fond of when I was younger, but I hadn't touched it for years, and I think the barrier to entry is very low with oil pastels. You literally just need the pastels and paper. You don't need any other supporting tools. So I just had this urge and I picked up a set. I went down to Hindustan Trading Company, which is like this amazing art store in Chennai. I picked up a set, and then I just started creating some art. I started doing a lot of oil pastel miniatures and sketching for fun after what felt like forever, and I was so surprised to discover that I'd considerably improved. It just felt natural and easy to me, and it's just funny, but I guess it's sort of like how you can't forget to ride a bicycle no matter how long it's been. And I think the magical part was that after 11 years of barely creating any art, I realized that my training as a designer had finally taught me how to create original work. I was able to imagine things and put them on paper, and I was able to not always be copying art. I was able to look at an object in front of me and illustrate this, and all of that completely shocked me. And then the pandemic and lockdowns happened in March 2020, and it wasn't just me anymore. I think a lot of people turned to art during this time. It was therapeutic for people, and I think I started discovering some really great artists on Instagram at this time. And the next thing I knew, I was doing an online course on modern watercolor techniques, which by the way is a great course on Skillshare, which I'm going to link below. And I started falling in love with watercolor. Then I came across gouache, and I kid you not, 2 years ago, before I came across gouache, I did not even know that this medium existed. I had never even heard of it, and I had no idea what it was. But when I was younger, I always used poster colors and I loved it. So when I researched this medium, I learned that it's pretty much a more professional and sophisticated version of poster color. And so I was immediately drawn to it because I do love opaque and bright pigments, which is why I picked up oil pastels as well. So I spent a month like obsessively watching videos and understanding the medium better before I purchased my first set of Winsor & Newton designer's gouache, which arrived from Hindustan. And what I'm showing you on the screen right now are some of my first few attempts with painting with gouache, and I couldn't have been more pleased with the results. And I was so surprised at the range of colors I was able to mix up with just a set of 6 paints. On thinking about it deeper, I think one of the main reasons I moved away from art was that I felt intimidated. I knew that I was strong with my techniques, but I always used to replicate other paintings. And I found it so hard to create original work, and that was something that was very difficult for me to deal with because I saw people around me creating original artwork all the time, especially with the advent of Instagram, and you're flooded with all these images all the time. And I just could not call myself an artist because I felt like an imposter all the time. For people who struggle with the same issue, I completely feel you. And my tip would be do tutorials. Do as many as you feel like. It is so important to expose yourself to the way different artists use their tools, and I think that was what was game changing for me. I started looking at tutorials to learn how to use the paints, to learn techniques, but not necessarily to create the same end result. Don't feel like you have to do it the exact same way that the tutor is doing it. Understand it and then let your pencil or pen or brush flow in a way that feels natural to you. Don't get held up in the nitty-gritties of making sure yours looks exactly like somebody else's. That is absolutely not necessary, and that is not the point. And I think there also comes a point of maturity in every artist's journey where we realize that all art is pretty much derivative. Art influences art, influences art. And that's how anything in life develops. Influence is good, influence is necessary. Copying, not so much. So once you're comfortable with your tools, just make sure that you're taking the effort not to be copying. You can totally learn from others, but just don't copy and don't try to pass off somebody else's work as your own. Be sure to credit artists when you do recreate their work. And once you've learned, use actual images as references. And I think that's what helped me the most. For example, if you want to draw a fish, look up images of fishes and get a feel of how their body moves, how the light and shadow falls, and the colors. And try not to use other art as reference because then you're stuck trying to replicate somebody else's style. Instead, look at images as they are and try to recreate them in your own style. And the problem with trying to replicate somebody else's style is that you'll beat yourself up if you're not able to make it look exactly like the reference, when it really does not need to. And I hope that makes sense. I hope you enjoyed watching that as much as I enjoyed creating it. Paintings like this are so therapeutic for me, and I just really enjoy doing them. So if you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. And please subscribe to my channel below so that you don't miss any of my future videos. And the most exciting news that I have to share is that I recently launched my first Skillshare class. So I'm leaving the link in the description. Please do check it out. It is jam-packed with all the information you need as a beginner who's starting off with gouache. And when you subscribe using my link, you'll get 1 month of Skillshare for free. Skillshare is really an amazing platform for any kind of creative learning, and I've been on the platform for 2 years now as a student, so I would highly recommend checking it out, and I hope you enjoy my class as well. So that's all for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.